There's a reason 99% of people never build real wealth. And it's not because they don't make enough money. It's not because they were born into the wrong family. It's not because they've never got opportunities. The real reason is way simpler and way more painful than any of those excuses. They're losing money every single day, not in obvious ways, in normal ways, in habits that look harmless, habits everybody around them has. Habits almost nobody ever questions, small decisions, repeated every week, every month, every year. And little by little, they drain away every dollar of wealth they could build. The cruel part? Most of these people work hard. They wake up early. They sit in traffic. They grind 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Then the month ends. They kept their bank account. And they have no idea where the money went. It feels like running on a treadmill. You push harder. You sweat more. But you never move forward. If that sounds like you, stay with me until the end. Because today, I'm breaking down the 6 financial traps that are keeping most people broke. And almost nobody even realizes they're traps. By the end of this video, you're going to see your habits very differently. I'm Abner. Welcome to Abnering Dust. And before we get into it, make sure you subscribe. First thing keeping 99% of people broke is the sneakiest one of all, because it disguises itself as progress. I'm talking about lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. You start out making $40,000 a year. You live in a basic apartment. You drive a used car. You cook at home. Then you get promoted. Now you make $60,000. What happens next? You move into a nicer place. You upgrade the car. You start eating out 3 times a week. 2 years later, another promotion. Now you're making $80,000. So now it's a better car, international vacations, designer clothes. And when you look at your account balance at the end of the month, it's exactly where it was when you made 40 grand. 0. Sometimes less than 0. And this happens in America all the time. Research shows nearly 60% of Americans making over $100,000 still live paycheck to paycheck. Think about that. People making 6 figures still can't save money. That kind of income puts someone ahead of most of the world. So why are they still broke? It's not because the paycheck is too small. It's because every raise gets swallowed by bigger spending. The problem was never how much you make. The problem is the gap between what you make and what you spend. And lifestyle inflation quietly destroys that gap. Like rust. You don't notice it until the whole structure collapses. People who build real wealth do the opposite. When their income goes up, their lifestyle stays put. The extra money goes straight into investments, into assets, into building streams of passive income. Pashur. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in history, still lived for decades in the same house he bought back in 1958. Not because he couldn't afford more, because he understands something most people don't. Every dollar spent on a lifestyle upgrade is a dollar that stops working for you. Wealth isn't what you show off. Wealth is what you keep building when nobody's watching. So let me ask you this. Have you ever fallen into this trap? Did you get a raise and instantly upgrade something you didn't really need? Tell me in the comments. I read every one of them. The second thing making people broke is America's favorite addiction, the brand new car. In the US, a car isn't just transportation. It's a status symbol. It's part of your identity. For some people, it's practically family. And the auto industry knows that. They spend billions every year convincing you that you deserve that new ride. The leather smell, the giant touchscreen, The sound system that shakes the seats. Kate and Eggift. But here's the math. No car commercial will ever show you. The average price of a new car in the United States in 2025 was over $48,000. Most people finance that car over 60 to 72 months. That means monthly payments somewhere around $700 to $800. And the second you drive it off the line, it loses value right away. Usually 10% to 15% instantly, around 20% by the end of the first year. 5 years later, that $48,000 car might be worth $25,000 at best. You burn through $23,000. And that's before interest, before higher insurance, before dealership maintenance. Add it all up, and the total cost can easily pass $60,000 for an asset worth less than half that. Now do this math with me. Instead of paying $800 a month on a new car loan, you imagine you bought a reliable 3- or 4-year-old car for $15,000 cash. Then you invested that same $800 a month into an index fund averaging 10% a year. After 10 years, you'd have over $160,000. After 20 years, over $600,000. And the person who kept buying new cars? They probably replaced that car 2 or 3 times, spent over $150,000 on payments and depreciation, and invested exactly zero. That difference isn't luck. It isn't talent. It isn't income. It's one decision, repeated over time. And it gets worse. A new car doesn't just cost the payment. It costs more to insure because the lender requires full coverage. It costs more to maintain because the dealership charges more than an independent mechanic. It costs peace of mind. You worry about scratches. You worry about parking on the street. You worry about every little dent. You didn't just buy a car. You bought a source of anxiety that costs you $800 a month. And when the loan finally ends, what do most people do? They go buy another one. The cycle starts over. Another 60 months. More depreciation. More expensive insurance. It never ends. And it all comes from one feeling: the need to look like you're doing well. The third trap is more subtle. But over a lifetime, it's just as destructive. The obsession with upgrading your phone every year. Tech companies are marketing geniuses. Every September, every February, they drop a new model with a slightly better camera, a slightly bigger screen, a processor you'll never actually push to the limit, and millions of people rush to replace a phone that works perfectly fine for one that costs $1,000, $1,200, sometimes even $1,500. Let's do the math. A new iPhone with accessories and a case can easily cost about $1,200. If you replace your phone every year for 20 years, that's $24,000 spent. And the old phone you traded in? Maybe worth $300. Now picture this instead. You keep your phone for 3 years and invest the difference now, about $800 a year policy, for 20 years at 10%. You'd end up with more than $50,000. All because you were willing to use a 2-year-old phone that still does everything you need. If this is opening your eyes, subscribe right now and turn on notifications. I post videos like this every week. Real math behind the money choices people make on autopilot. YouTube only pushes this content to people who show interest, so take 2 seconds and hit subscribe. Now back to it. The problem isn't just the phone, it's the mindset behind it. The mindset that says, I need the newest version. That mindset spreads everywhere. A new tablet when the old one still works. A new laptop when your current one is fine. A smartwatch. Wireless earbuds. Whatever gadget is trending this month. Each one feels like a small purchase by itself. But when you add it all up to Nasi, phones, tablets, laptops, accessories, and app subscriptions qualish, the average American can spend over $3,500 a year on personal tech. Over 20 years, that's $70,000. Invested at 10%, that could grow to more than $220,000. $250,000. Gone. Turned into e-waste sitting in a landfill. The fourth thing keeping people broke is buying expensive clothes to impress people who do not care about you. That sounds harsh. But it needs to be said. That $2,000 bag, those $300 sneakers, that $800 jacket. Did you buy it for yourself? Or did you buy it for other people's reaction? Be honest. Because most of the time, the answer is uncomfortable. You bought it so somebody would look at you and think you're successful. You are buying the approval of strangers. With money you don't really have, to maintain an image that isn't even real. In the US, the average person spends over $1,800 a year on clothes. But in big cities, especially among young professionals trying to look successful, that number can jump to $5,000, $6,000, even $10,000 a year. These are people wearing $150 t-shirts, $300 pants, limited edition sneakers that cost $500 and stay in the box because they're scared to dirty them. Meanwhile, the closet gets fuller. And the investment account stays empty. You know what's ironic? Some of the richest people I know dress simply. Mark Zuckerberg became famous for wearing the same gray t-shirt. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck style for years. Not because they were cheap, because they understood something most people don't. Every unnecessary buying decision you eliminate saves mental energy and real money. Both can be redirected towards something that actually matters. Rich people buy assets. Poor people buy things to look rich. And that reversal is exactly what keeps both groups where they are. The fifth trap is newer. But for this generation, it might be the most destructive of all. Living for social media. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube created a fake parallel world where everyone looks like they're living an incredible life. Exotic vacations, expensive restaurants, 5-star hotels, rooftop parties overlooking Manhattan. And when you see all that, something inside you tightens. You feel like you're falling behind, like your life is small compared to theirs. So you do the worst thing possible. You try to compete. You book the hotel you can't really afford. You go to the restaurant where the entree costs $90 just to take a photo. You post it with a caption like, "Living my best life." You buy the plane ticket in 12 installments. Not because you dreamed of going there, but because it would look good on your feed. Every one of those posts costs real money. Money that could have been invested. And what do you get back? Lights. A currency that pays exactly 0 bills. Here's the ugliest secret about social media. A lot of the people you envy are just as broke as you are. Maybe even more broke. Research shows over 40% of Americans have spent money they didn't have just to post something on social media. Think about that. Almost half a generation is going into debt to maintain a digital image. You are not competing with rich people. You are competing with broke people who are just better at pretending. And while both of you race to impress strangers online, The truly wealthy stay quiet. They invest. They buy assets. They build real wealth that never shows up on Instagram. If this video is changing how you see your money habits, hit like right now. Every like tells YouTube this message needs to reach more people. And maybe your one click puts this video in front of someone drowning in debt trying to impress strangers online. That matters. And the sixth thing keeping people broke, poor, and in my opinion, the root of all the others camp, is refusing to invest in financial education. And when I say invest, I'm not necessarily talking about spending money on expensive courses. I'm talking about time. Attention, 30 minutes a day reading a finance book, watching a video like this, listening to a podcast about investing, learning how money actually works. The average American spends more than 7 hours a day consuming media. 7 hours. Social media, streaming, news, entertainment videos. If that person took just 30 minutes of those 7 hours and redirected it toward learning about money, in 1 year they'd have 180 hours of financial education. That's more than an entire college semester focused on understanding wealth. And the cost? $0. Just the choice to trade half an hour of distraction for half an hour of transformation. Financial ignorance is the most expensive ignorance there is. It costs more than taxes, more than credit card interest, more than predatory loans, because it's what allows every other trap to work. If you don't know inflation is eating your cash, you can leave it sitting in a savings account doing nothing. If you don't know what an index fund is, you spend everything you make. If you don't understand compound interest, you don't feel any urgency to start investing today. Every trap I just showed you works because of this last one: lack of knowledge. The moment you learn, the spell breaks. You stop being the prey, and you become the hunter. And I know what some people are thinking right now. I don't have time to study finance. I work all day. And that is exactly what the system wants you to believe. Because as long as you think you don't have time, you keep making money decisions in the dark. You keep signing loan papers without understanding the real cost of the interest. You keep leaving cash in accounts that earn nothing. You keep paying fees you could have avoided. The time you think you don't have to learn about money is the same time you'll spend working extra years later to pay for the mistakes you made in ignorance. Financial education is not a luxury. It is one of the most important survival tools in a world designed to keep you spending. So let's recap. The 6 things keeping 99% of people broke are: lifestyle inflation, which eats every raise before it can change your life; the new car addiction, which burns tens of thousands in depreciation; the endless phone and gadget upgrades, which turn $250,000 into electronic trash; buying expensive clothes to impress strangers; trying to maintain a fake lifestyle for social media; and above all, refusing to spend time learning how money works. Each of these traps feels small on its own. It's just a car. It's just a phone. It's just a jacket. But when you add them up over 10, 20, 30 years, the opportunity cost becomes massive. Hundreds of thousands. Sometimes millions of dollars, money that could have been working for you, creating passive income, buying your freedom. Instead, it ended up in a landfill, in somebody else's parking lot, or in the pocket of a company that convinced you that buying their product would make you happy. You traded future freedom for present comfort. And the worst part is, you didn't even realize you were making that trade. That's the real difference between the 1% and the 99%. Long-term vision. The 1% look at every dollar and ask, Will this dollar bring me more dollars later or disappear forever? The 99% ask, what can I buy with this dollar right now? One question looks ahead. The other looks down, and over decades, that difference creates a financial gap that feels impossible to cross. But it starts with one simple shift in mindset. The good news is this. Starting today, you get to choose. You can close this video and go back to the same habits. Or you can decide this is the day it finally clicked. The day you stopped playing everybody else's game and started playing your own. If you watched all the way to this point, comment this. I'm going to be part of the top 1%. And let me leave you with one final thought. The path is simple, but it is not easy. It takes discipline, it takes patience, and it takes the willingness to look different in a world that rewards pretending. But I promise you this, the freedom waiting for you at the end of that road is worth more than any limited edition sneaker ever will be. This video is over, but there's a lot more content like this on my channel. Watch the next one, and I'll see you in the next video.